So it's an NBC funded project, so that's half the funds come from the government, well it's 40% moving forward. At the moment with what we've been working with is half. That's the Australian Brahman Breeders, Drought Master Australia, and then the Centre for Tourist Research Herds. So they buy the steers, as Jono said before, from the Repronomics project. So they normally turn up around a month after weaning, and that's, we've had a few different places, but as I said, yeah, 13 years of steers from spine last and 10 years from grind pastures. Jono showed a list of bulls. This is just a list of different properties where we've had size come from over the period. That's the standing truths and drought masters, and that's the studs that we've had size for the Brahman. So as you can see, we've had trying to cover the whole breed where we're getting those size coming from. So I think overall we're up to probably well over 300 different size, 350 different size across the different breeds. Over the 13 years we've moved around quite a bit. So that's the properties we've had steers on over the past. We've Banana Station first up. I think then we went to Janardi, then we had Narayan and Berrigar at the same time. Well, Sandstock was one of the early ones. And we've been at Warwick now for how long? 4 or 5 years, Craig? 2020, so yeah, on the 5th year here. Early on we used to put steers through the feedlot, so originally we were at Smithfield, then we went up to Brahman, and we did one down around Mara as well. And we originally started, we were cooking the steers down at Smithfield, Proston we were killing at John D, then we've been either killing at Tees and Rocky or Billow for the last sort of 7 or 8 years. So we get the steers in weaning, so the first measurements we take on these steers is we do a 400 day weight, that's normally around November when we do that measurement. Then we do a 600 day weight about July, and we carcass scan those steers then. And then we also carcass scan these steers about a month prior to slaughter as well, just to get that information that we can compare against what we're getting over the Nucleus. So we do the pH fat, rib fat, IMS wear, and we're only actually doing the IMF currently just for that prior to slaughter. Also, John does structural scoring on all these steers on that month before we kill them as well. So we've got those records that can be analysed in the future, looking at some of those structural traits as well. In the abattoir, we do all the MSA data, so we get the actual MSA staff come do the MSA on all the cattle we kill. So we're getting the carcass weight, we get our fat depths, EMAs, fat colour, meat colour, umpide, MSA marble score comes out of it as well. We get ossification and the pH as well. And then after that we take a meat sample, and that gets, John normally takes that down to meat science lab at UNE, and that's where we're getting our meat science. So they go down there, they get cryovac aged for 14 days, and then they'll start doing the meat sample, looking at the shear force, IMF. And in the 2021 and 22 SPY last years, we did actually took a full strip line over them, and they were doing sensory tests, so they were doing eating quality on those as well. So just on the sensory testing, that's the criteria that's around for people that are actually doing the test for this, so 25 to 65-year-olds, eat beef more than once per week, further beef, the sheep cooked and around the medium. They get a sheet to answer the questionnaire, hand scoring attendance, beefness, and overall liking, and they tick a box, 1 or 4 boxes indicate whether it's satisfactory, good every day, better than every day, or premium quality. So that's what's coming back in that sensory information. I don't think any of that's been analysed yet, has it? So, no, so we haven't got any results coming back. That's what was on the Drought Master standards and the Brahmans, as well as I think a lot of the southern breeds are that as well. So that was a project coming out of the meat science. So it'll be interesting when we get some of that information back. This is just looking at sort of the average weights of every kill we've had when we've killed them. The ones in red being the ones of pasture, and then the ones in the darker. All these steers are HTP3, except for this kill here. So they actually, when they down to Smithfield, the boss is away and they're all the pill putting here, so we have to go with what we had. And you can actually see there probably just from that, because all the other feedlot sort of had a bit of effect on the IMF and also on the shear force on those animals that were in that year of animals. Plenty of growth, but certainly did have a little bit of effect looking at that on the eating quality of those animals. And that's just looking at brine parts, it's just looking at similar as well. And right down the bottom here, you can look, remember these steers are all born within 12 weeks of age. We can just see the variation we get for each of those traits across all those animals. And that's the same every year, those variations are very similar, like around that 230 up to that 430 for carcass weights. Maybe not always 33 mil of fat, but always with someone in the 20s. And just in the last few years, we've sort of changed a bit about the way we've been killing those steers. So now we kill on Friday and they sit in the chillers over the weekend. And then we're doing our grading on Monday. And that's just the number of percentage of animals that have been graded in MSA across the Brahmans, Outmasters and Sanders in the last two kills we've killed. So we're seeing in those really high 90% of the animals are actually graded in MSA. And we've had a couple of good years here, those number 21 steers, those brine pastures ones are only about 27 months and we turn them off at 330 kilos. So certainly makes a difference when you've got that good feed in front of you to get able to turn what you're going to grade by ossifications to help getting those grading higher as well. So this is just some of the preliminary results that have come out. So these have been least mean squares, that's been adjusted for the age of these animals. So this is just looking at this general the variation. This is looking at Brahman carcass weight. So we can see that between the top and bottom is about a 30 kilo difference in those carcass weights in those animals. And this graph here is just plotting the dots and the EBVs for these blocks for carcass weight. And that's actually what their weights of their carcass are. And we can see that the EBVs are doing a very good job of predicting what the actual carcass weights of these steers were when we actually killed them as well. Now if we looked at the top and the bottom balls for carcass weight, and this is just looking at their EBVs for carcass weight, and we can see the bottom ball there is in the bottom 5% of the breed for carcass weight, but the bloke over here is in the top 1% for carcass weight and breed. So once again showing those EBVs are doing a good job of predicting what we actually saw when we actually killed those steers. Once again, this is drought masters looking at about a 40 kilo difference in those carcass weights from the size progeny. And as I talked before, you know, when you're selling those, it's a lot of money difference as well. And once again, if we look at the carcass weight EBVs there, this bloke's about 12%, and that other fella, the top ball was in the top 1% of the breed as well. So I suppose the demonstration here is showing that the EBVs are doing a good job of predicting what we're actually seeing when we're killing these animals. And this is just looking at the dollar values when we killed these Sanders steers between the top and bottom ball. Remembering that we have a lot of those Sanders, and there's a $223 difference in the value of those progeny, those two, of the top ball and the bottom ball when we looked across the animals, across those size progeny. This is just looking at another trait, PA. We can see that there's a 6 mil difference in the pH between the top and bottom ball and their progeny. So those, some of them will actually get a little bit lower, but if I was to go and look at like Brahman or Sanders as well, we're going to get that similar variation we're seeing those Outmasters for this trait as well. And once again, the EBV is just showing rib rump fat. That fellow was the leaner fellow, he's down at the bottom 1% of the breed, and the other fellow's at the top 10%. So it's just showing for all the traits that we're measuring, the EBVs are doing a very good job of predicting what we're seeing when we actually kill these animals. Let's just look at Sanders Nucleus pH, and there's an 8 mil difference in those progeny between the top and bottom balls, the progeny for pH. And once again, if you look at the pH, this fellow's down about 25%, the other fellow's at the top 10%. If we look at the EMA, we're still getting that big variation as well, but 11 square centimetres difference between the top and bottom ball for EMA. And once again, if you look at eye muscle area for the EBVs, this bloke's in the bottom 1%, and that bloke's in the top 1% of the breed. That's Chris talked about before, these are just some of the other traits that we're actually measuring that we haven't got EBVs for as well, but we're just looking at hump height here between the Brahmans, so you're getting over a 40 millimetre difference in the hump heights when we're killing those animals. And I suppose you look at those two bulls at the top visually, compared to the bulls down the bottom, certainly there's a bit of difference in the hump height between those sides, we can see there as well. So looking into the future, we're proposing to buy the number 25 steers that are about to be weaned later this year, and hopefully we'll buy the next couple of cohorts that will be coming out of this project while we keep continuing to collect this data to help drive the carcass trade EVs, genomics into the future within these three breed societies, and hopefully leading towards multi-breed EVs as well. That's about all I've got. We'll go through a lot of the stuff over the steers we've got there as well.
Thanks, Paul. Any questions?
Paul, just looking at those slides with the 95 to 99.5% compliance to NSA. This is probably a question, but it's also an observation. NSA is one of the criteria of NSA is hump height.
Yeah.
So, is there a correlation between, well, everyone's always said that MSA, in common breeds is influenced by hump height, but it doesn't seem to be in our kill data. So, is there a correlation between that?
Between hump height and
MSA?
Oh, there is.
Why are we being penalised for hump height in MSA when obviously the data is saying that we can still go to MSA?
I think that's a question for me. I'll leave that alone. But there is variation. On average, one breed's higher than the other and the other. We're passing MSA, we're all getting through. On an MSA score, the hump height's taking 6 points off an MSA score for a purebred Brahman compared to a flat back. But they're all getting through on MSA though. They're not making company specs, but they're passing it. They'll pass MSA, but they're not getting graded in the company specs. So they've got a couple of grids in what the MSA gives them.
Sarah, would you like to add something there?
I'm Sarah Strawn with NLA. Was it sorry? And so I've worked with the MSA program for over 20 years, so it's a common question that we definitely get. So it's probably two separate things there. So the numbers up there would be compliance to the minimum requirements of pH and RIPRAT. So the basic compliance to just be MSA or not eligible is pH and RIPRAT. So I think that's what those numbers are saying. There's been good compliance to those two things. And then the hump height question, though, that's probably separate. So the measurement of hump height is done on every single carcass. It forms part of that MSA index that comes back on feedback. So if you had an MSA graded animal, there'll be all the different traits that will start there before they get collected. And you would see on your feedback hump height will be there. And then so the reason hump height is there, because all the sensory data that has been done over the years to work out what actually impacts the inequality, hump height has come up as having an impact on inequality. And it varies, it's taken into consideration. So when we grade a carcass, the size of the hump height is actually taken into consideration of how big that carcass is. So we know that as animals grow and get a bigger carcass, their hump will increase. So there's a tolerance for that too. But when that tolerance indicates there is a tropical breed influence that's driving the hump height increase, through the sensory panels we've done, it has come up really consistently that it does have a negative impact on inequality. But we recognise that, so I guess our message around that is we can deal with the hump heights are a problem. We know we can measure it and we can quantify the impact of inequality, but the optimisation of other things in breeds in that bow are like marbling, ossification, carcass weight, all of those things can actually offset the impact hump height is having as well. So it's sort of, it sits in the combination of all the traits that actually impact the index. If that helps. I can talk to you directly, separately as well. Right. Yes. Yes. So I think the impact, so hump height does have an impact on inequality, that's absolutely right, and it will have an impact on the MSA index score, absolutely. I think we've probably seen, some great examples of Brahmans, full Brahmans that are having excellent index results as good as southern cattle as well. So I think now we've got a better understanding as well around how we manage animals and what that we need to do it. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, so I think it is. So the hump is definitely, the impact of inequality hasn't changed, but the central data coming through the bin will be really helpful to help us reassess if that impact is changing over time. That's why we keep doing the sensory testing as well. I think what we've seen is an improvement though in things like marbling, which lifts the index, reducing ossification, which improves the index. So there's been some efforts on those traits as well.
How does the HGP penalty compare to hump height?
So the HGP has a flat -5 penalty off the MSA index. The hump height is a little bit more variable because we look at the size of the hump in comparison to the other traits like carcass weight and ossification. So it's a little bit more dynamic, if you like, is how it interacts. But the HGP, so what you showed up there absolutely confirms why we have the HGP penalty in place, because went through again, this is all validated through sensory panels as well, so don't just make this stuff up. But HGPs by themselves have shown to have a significant impact on inequality, and I think you had the slide where shear force, so that reflects probably from that particular measurement, shear force is lifted there, which means it's tougher. But the other associated impacts HGP is having, which is why HGP treated carcasses can sometimes even have a lower index, is it does have an impact on it does reduce marbling and it does increase ossification. And the way that I kind of seem to describe that is it's doing a great job on the growth traits and lifting carcass weight and live weight, which is what its job is, but it's therefore putting pressure on it. It's a protein sort of deposition. It's trying to accelerate protein deposition, not necessarily fat deposition. So the marbling's been compromised. I think the body's all comes under a little bit more stress, if you like, to perform beyond what it was sort of set up to do. And so the ossification score, we're seeing that get reflected in there too.
And Roger, if you're having trouble understanding your MSA data on the feedback sheets, I'm pretty sure you won't be the only one to do that. Okay, any more questions? Please.
Paul, the last slide you had was the future one. This is probably not just addressed to you, it's a David and Christy question as well. But if this crowd here was your donor funding, and we expend a little bit on that, why getting more funding to keep this program going is important.
So if we, this is our last lot of steers, we collect any of this carcass data on. Moving forward 5 or 6 years down the track, the size that have been used aren't really relevant to the current animals that have been born. So that'll just erode those genomic individuals, the accuracies in those, because we need to be maintaining populations that are current to what's actually the rest of the herd that's running around. So we need to be able to maintain, especially these hard to measure traits, because really the only carcass data we're getting at the moment is coming out of these research projects. So it's important we keep these projects going to be able to keep increasing or keeping up to date with the current population, so we can move forward and keep those accuracies of these EPVs up, especially with these hard to measure traits.
Particularly with the genomics.
Genomics, genomics, and genomics is, a lot of people are moving to do genomics. The main important thing, if we're going to do genomics, we've got to have people collecting that data in the background to keep these genomics relevant to what's the current population doing.
Yeah, that's the critical point, is paying people that are performance recording and it's paying people that are doing DNA testing. But unless you do it both, you're not contributing to the accuracy and the effectiveness of genomics.
Is it, so say compared to when we put a scan of our samples in for our Fact 9F,
I prefer you scan as a big group, not just your samples.
yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did mine 400 days not
Yeah.
long ago, so take that contemporary group to say we actually slaughtered the steer portion of them and did carcass data. Is there different value for the live scans to the actual carcass data, or are they considered the same value?
The problem we probably have with that is that, well, the one that steered are probably the best animals, so we'd rather, to get the best value, we need to be getting the whole cohort to be covered, not rather just the cull animals.
But I mean, like, so, say you had half the population done as bulls and the other, and say you had another 50% of a larger cohort, say there was another 100 or 150 that you'd culled, would that data still be just as valuable, like when it was authorised?
The value of ultrasound scanning is you can do it on lots of animals in your seed stock earth. The trouble is it's not the same trait exactly as the carcass. So the carcass, if you get actual appetite carcass records, it has more bang for your buck in the pre-clinical evaluation. Because the scan trait is only a correlated trait. So the carcass eye muscle and the scan eye muscle might only have a 27 genetic correlation. So the value of the scanning data is less than actual appetite. And so these carcass records on these steers could be worth thousands of scans on those bulls versus, 15 progeny that get actual carcass data. So the carcass data is really critical, but the scan data is what we can use from a lot of seed stock earth. If you're scanning and you're doing DNA, you're actually contributing to the rest of the population. So it will be helping the accuracies across the analysis, but it won't be as good as the data that will come from these steers where they get actual appetite data.
If you were to do that, you'd have to kill all those steers in the